One time.
The neighborhood-supported cannabis consumption pilot program. Last week, Denver elections just said that you got enough signatures to make the ballot. All residents of Denver can vote on this in November. Give us the down low on this effort, how it feels to know that you're going to be on the ballot this time, and what this could mean for Denver businesses and also marijuana aficionados who want to have a broader spectrum of places to get high in.
Definitely. So you mentioned the problem. We can now purchase and possess cannabis. Adults can here in Colorado and Denver, but they don't have an outlet to consume it. And it is a tourist issue, but it's also a resident issue when you think about the fact that a lot of people live in HOA or landlord-controlled properties that don't allow the use on site. There's folks that, veterans, for instance, that live in federal housing, or a lot of these places that disallow that use on site. These folks are going out onto sidewalks, into parks, and consuming cannabis. They're doing it in places where they shouldn't. It's something that, when we talk about folks wanting to keep cannabis away from children, I would hope that they'd be in support of this, understanding that the only way it's going to get off the streets and out of parks and away from kids is to take it inside into regulated spaces. So this was an iteration of last year's initiative that I also helped. Mason Tavert and Steve Fox ran.
Sure.
Ended up pulling it from the ballot because the city and business owners said that they didn't have enough play. They didn't have enough input to guide really the verbiage, the language around this initiative. So we pulled it, and over the last year we've really talked with a lot of eligible neighborhood organizations, which are an important component of this, members of city council, the mayor's office, business owners, activists, users, everybody, to understand what potentially does this look like? How can we do it in a manner that is considerate of the needs of all stakeholders, and understanding not everybody's going to get their way, find the way that we can really usher into this problem that's not going away and find resolution. And we think that we've gone a long way to doing that. And the neighborhood supported piece is really important. Neighborhood supported cannabis consumption pilot program. It requires, if you're going to apply for one of these permits with the city, that we have a dialogue with these neighborhood organizations. There's 192 in Denver. So registered neighborhood organizations, business improvement districts, merchants associations. There has to be a dialogue with these folks to understand how to best integrate these businesses that are allowing cannabis social consumption into these neighborhoods. Every neighborhood's different. Every business is different. This initiative covers every business. So it could be all the way from an office space to an arcade to a coffee shop to a massage parlor to a yoga studio to a music venue. There's no business that's off the table here as long as they have that dialogue and get that support from that eligible neighborhood organization. At that point, they could submit it to the city to gain that permit. And the permit piece is very important as well because unlike, say, the normal initiative that failed to make the ballot,
Sure.
They had year-long licenses. Alcohol licenses are a year long. These permits could be for as little as 2 hours. They could be for a single event, for a day, for certain hours in the day, for a week, for up to a year. And I think that's important because this has never happened before. Nobody has ever regulated the social consumption of cannabis in the world. Not even places like Amsterdam. They don't regulate it. They tolerate it. They allow it. So this is something brand new that we really need to engage everybody on to make sure that we, as Denver has done, Colorado has done so well, continue to be at the forefront of this, really creating a foundation for the rest of the world to understand what this looks like. So I'm hoping that if a neighborhood organization, I sit on the Art District on Santa Fe Board of Directors, for instance,
Sure.
I know that we're looking at taking a stab at this. If we decide to do it, it may be for a First Friday. We're going to learn some lessons there based on that permits issuance and its operation, and maybe we tailor it a little differently next time. Maybe there's some things that we were concerned about that didn't come to fruition that we can then take out of what that permit entails. So it really allows us to baby step into this process, make sure that everybody feels comfortable, and before we dive into something a little longer than an event or a week or a month-long permit. It's also a pilot program, and I think that's important too because I don't personally believe that this would be a failure. I think it's going to be very successful. Most of the fears around this are not that dissimilar to what we heard ahead of Amendment 64 passing. The sky was going to fall. There were a lot of Chicken Littles, and very, very little of that came to fruition. And I think
Sure.
a lot of the fears that people have now, although very relevant and valid to be a part of this conversation, I don't think are going to come to fruition on the back end. So it'll be important that we don't set these rules up, set these laws up to be considerate of things that haven't happened yet. This allows us to create those restrictions as we go, and it also brings the city council and excise and licensing into the equation, because they can really fill in where they believe there are gaps or holes in this initiative. But ultimately, if it doesn't work in 2020, unless it's extended or something new is created by city council movement or another voter initiative, then this would theoretically sunset. But I'm pretty confident. We have 50 businesses right now formally in support of this. They're mostly not cannabis businesses. They're coffee shops and music venues and